Hey everybody, thanks for watching the VSO Gun Channel. We're out here on the range today, as always, and we're going to be looking at something a little bit out of the ordinary. You guys have heard me speak a little bit about optics before. This thing is not standard. As you guys have seen before, this is my standard AR-15 16-inch gun that I use, but riding on top of it today is an OPMod EOTech. This thing's a little bit different than your standard EOTech. Has all the same warranty information, same ruggedability, all that sort of stuff. The controls are just a little bit different. So if we look over here, this is an EXPS2 rated optic. It has the controls on the left side of the optic instead of on the back, which is something that the OPMod line first pioneered on the EOTech line, because they got a lot of feedback from users saying that they got tired of going towards the back of the optic, and they couldn't really see it, especially in low light conditions. So they went ahead and moved those over there, and that is actually starting to become standard on the models moving forward of EOTech. So that was proprietary for OPMod for a little while, but moving forward it has the rest of the standard controls for an EOTech. Batteries in the front, obviously. You remove this cap, battery comes right out. This cap is tethered, so you can't lose it or anything like that, unless you're like me and break tethers like that constantly. As well as it has this quick detach feature over here, where you basically press this down, throw the lever, and you can move it from gun to gun. Really, really easy. Right now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull some rounds out of the bag here, go ahead and fire her up, see how she works. Doc's out here to film with me today, and we're going to go ahead and get some initial impressions on this, and then we're going to go to our extreme test and see how this thing survives. Alright guys, one thing that I did forget to mention is this does have the standard EOTech reticle. It has the nice large circle with the dot in the center. And the other thing that a lot of people say about EOTechs is that they look a little bit blurry to them, and that is because it's a holographic sight. And what I've come to know after a little bit of research is that reticle individually, each tile of the glass, the reticle is etched into each one of those individual panes of glass in the optic. So if this were to take a hit or be shattered or something like that, you would still be able to see the optic projected as if the glass was not damaged, which is a little bit nice. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to do one of those one time. Maybe we'll run this thing over with a truck or something like that later and see if it still works. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and shoot it. Cool. Hey Doc, you want to take a run? Any initial impressions on that optic? I know this is the first time you've ever fired an EOTech, but you do have some experience with some previous optical systems before. What do you think?
I find it pretty easy to focus on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm transitioning from the steel out there down to here, and it's pretty easy to stay with.
Pretty easy to stay with.
Yeah.
And you saw the little bit of blurriness I talked about earlier?
I did, yeah.
So I guess all that really remains is to really run it through its paces out here and see how long it lives. I have a feeling it's going to last a long time, but you know, around here, you never know. But anyway, let's go have some more fun with it.
There you go.
So a lot of people will ask me what the advantages of having a hollow sight like the OPMod EOTech is over having like a standard red dot sight like an aim point or a vortex or something like that. And the major advantage is the non-parallax positioning of the reticle. So if I fire this gun like this, see how my head is in one position. If I move my head out of that position with a standard red dot, there's going to be some deviation, and you may or may not notice that depending on the range. But with this optic, I can move my head to a different position, say like this, if I can hold the gun, and still be able to hit the target regardless of the orientation of my face to the optic. As long as I can see the reticle and the optic, that bullet will go where that reticle is stationed. So I can be all the way down here if I want, and I can still barely see that optic barely see that reticle. In fact, it was so close I got punched in the face by the charging handle. And again, and you can see that I am still able, even though I kind of broke my nose there a little bit, able to see the reticle and still make impacts on the target regardless of the position of my face. And that is the advantage of having something like the OPMod EOTech. Anyway, moving on. Hey everybody, you might recognize this bag as the Skitch 15 bag from VanQuest Gear. This thing made its first appearance on the channel at Big 3 East. If you guys didn't see that video, check it out. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. We had a lot of good times playing with this thing down at Big 3 East. A full review will be forthcoming, but we need to definitely get some more testing in on it before we begin. But anyway, without further ado, this is the extreme test for the OPMod EOTech. This is a Thompson Center Encore with a 500 Smith & Wesson barrel attached to it. This thing is by far the most uncomfortable 500 Smith & Wesson handgun ever made. It just has to be, because I've fired several other ones made from other manufacturers, and let me just tell you that you're better off going and buying one of those guns than trying to do it on the cheap like this. This thing is very uncomfortable. It is not a good time to shoot, and the reason I chose this for the extreme test on the OPMod EOTech is because I've killed 3 different optical systems trying to sight in this gun. So far, this thing has survived the sight-in. I don't remember how many rounds we put through it, but it was several. And if it survives this range session, then we'll call it the hardest optic that has ever been put on top of this thing. I mean, we're talking like I completely unspooled the front half of a Trijicon Reflex kind of recoil on this thing. It just eats optics. So without further ado, we're going to move up the range a little bit and see if we can't knock over that steel over there. This should be a good time. So today we're going to be using 400 grain platinum tip. These are from Winchester, and usually I was using the 300 grain FTX rounds, and they were relatively comfortable, but unfortunately I can't find those anywhere. So these things were not cheap. They're like $5 a shot, and they're extremely uncomfortable to shoot. But we're going to see if we can't knock over that steel, and without further ado, we'll just go ahead and scoot up to the line, turn on our GoPro, and here goes nothing. Well, that was pretty legit. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and run down range, get a close-up of that thing, see what it looks like. There is no pit or anything on there. Took it well. Okay guys, so for our second test, what I've done is I've gone ahead and set a cinder block out there. That's just a standard cinder block, but backing it is the shootsteel.com static target. And the reason I did that is I don't want to send one of these heavy things. After it contacts the ground, I'm concerned that it might skip up over that way and, you know, do some havoc to something innocent standing over the hill or anything like that. I don't want that to happen. So to capture all the fragments from this big honking thing, I've gone ahead and backed it. And, you know, maybe it'll give me a little bit bigger target to shoot at too, because this thing is horribly inaccurate. Yeah, I took a little bit of a frag off of that thing from the cinder block. That kind of hurt a little bit, but you know, such is the price. We're gonna go ahead and take a look down range, see what kind of damage we did. All right, so for our final test, I have 2 watermelons sitting down there. They're full-size watermelons, and I'm gonna go ahead and put a 500 Smith & Wesson round into them, and whichever one survives, I'm gonna eat. The other one, we might be able to pick through its wreckage, but we'll see. I've gone ahead and moved the GoPro closer for a little tighter shot, and this is going to be a good time. There goes nothing. So with irons, I've determined that this gun is approximately a 5 MOA gun. I'm having a hard time with this thing, and this thing, every time I shoot it, I feel like I'm in a car wreck. So I'm having a hard time kind of holding still at this point in time. But we're gonna see if we can't waste one of those watermelons. Went a little bit low. We'll take one more shot, see if I can't kill it. That's more like it. All right, we're gonna go check out the Carnage Gun Range. That was a lot of fun. What an absolutely sticky mess. It completely decimated, or I guess decimated is not the right term, but it completely destroyed that watermelon. There are pieces of watermelon all the way back there. That was pretty hardcore. But as you can see, it didn't do any damage to our other watermelon, which is pretty slick. Part of the VSO budget goes to Spectre's dinner tonight, it looks like. All right, guys, that was a lot of fun. Once again, this is the OPMod EOTech from Optics Planet Modification Special Edition EOTech. So this thing, once again, like I said, it held up to all of our testing so far. We're going to be doing a lot of testing in the coming year on this thing. You guys know us. We don't just test something and put a video out for you guys. We do an initial impressions and testing, and then we test that optic system over the course of an entire year or even longer if it performs up to standard. So we're going to throw this on a variety of guns as they come in, as well as some of our tried and true guns that have been running for a long time for us, and just see if we find its breaking point. But you know, like I said, I did want to touch on a few things that I did leave out before. This thing, once again, is likened to the EXPS2 from EOTech. This is a product produced by EOTech, private labeled for Optics Planet. So this does come with your warranty information from EOTech. It has all those bells and whistles. Transversely mounted CR123 battery, like standard on most EOTechs. But once again, the OPMod line was the first one to pioneer putting the buttons on the left side. This has since become standard on the EXPS3 model, and I do believe now the EXPS2s are coming out with that. One of the major differences in this versus some of the other EOTech line is that this has a shortened base on it, so this requires 2.5 inches of rail space rather than your standard 4, which I kind of like, because I like that little versatility that you can get if you're running like backup iron sights or something like that. It just, you know, it gives you a little bit more versatility, and I like versatility. That said, as far as backup iron sights are concerned, my iron sights on my AR-15 coat witness perfectly on this, but it does say in the literature that it is designed to coat witness to the bottom half. This does have a 7mm base on it, which is supposed to put it right there with the bottom third. This thing has 30 settings on it and a 600-hour battery life at the nominal setting of 12. Like I did mention previously, this thing does not have night vision compatible settings, but as far as I can tell, the lowest light settings are really, really dim, and they're very dim for even inside of my house. So, and for those of my crew that have been in my house is a dungeon. So it's not very well lit in there. One of the things that I did find out at SHOT Show 2 years ago was that the reticle of this particular optic, the 1 MOA dot is not actually a 1 MOA dot. It is actually 3 dots that are a half MOA that are all clustered together. And apparently, from what I have come to understand, the half MOA dot is the smallest perceptible dot that the human eye can pick up. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that is what's in the literature from EOTech these days. You know, that said, this has 2 different variants. This is the EXPS2-0 model, and the only difference between this and the EXPS2-2 is that the EXPS2-2 has a second dot within the 65 MOA circle that you guys saw before. It has a second dot within that. It has 2 1 MOA, or I guess 2 clusters of 3 half MOA dots, however you guys want to put that. But that is the difference in variance in those two. There are no other differences. The one thing I did want to point out for you guys is that this OPMod EOTech Special Edition comes at a lower MSRP than your standard EXPS2 directly from EOTech. So if you guys were wanting to get something like this for your own purposes, you are going to get that thing at a reduced rate against your standard EOTech, even though it comes with all the bells and whistles. That said, because you are a VSO subscriber, you do get a discount from Optics Planet if you were wanting to get something like this for yourself. There's a code in the description box of this video. Go ahead and check it out. Do some shopping over at Optics Planet if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for optics or even gear that's over there, you can pick up something like this with the enter of that coupon code. Just one of those things that we're trying to do to bring some retailers in to help you guys out. You know, afford some of this equipment that's you know, for some of us it's pretty expensive, and I want to be able to try and give that back to you guys and be able to help you guys out a little bit. You know, make sure you guys check out all those deals in the description, because you know, we're trying to do that for you guys. But anyway, that said, this was the OPMod EOTech EXPS2 from Optics Planet. Remember, you guys have watched the VSO Gun Channel, where we bend the fit and scratch the finish so you guys don't have to. Thanks for watching.